definition of inspiration is a divine influence exerted directly and immediately on the mind and soul. How do you get inspired? Is it by books, art, music? Perhaps you do hear that whisper of guidance or feel an actual little nudge from above. Could it be from nature, people, poetry? There are as many ways to become inspired as there are people on the planet. We're all different, and our inspiration can come from countless sources. The common thread is that we all get inspired. If we didn't, there wouldn't be any change in our lives or the world around us. But the difference is what we do with that inspiration. That's what makes us all vastly different. For me, inspiration means being in spirit, being in the flow of who I am meant to be, doing what I am meant to be doing for others. Sometimes I hear it as a little glimpse through my brain. Sometimes it is a little physical nudge, a feeling in my stomach. And sometimes it's as big as a billboard when I am not listening to my intuition. And unexpectedly, this weekend, it came from 7 young adults who shared their stories, their strength, and their hope. I was really honored and privileged to be at the brunch this weekend for the Youth of the Year Award with the Boys and Girls Club. For those of you who are there, you probably had your own experience. But for me, I was touched to a level that I did not expect to happen. When I first heard about the meeting, I was excited because I was actually going to be on island. That doesn't always happen for me. But I also knew I had to be there. I didn't know why. It was just that feeling. I had to be there. As each student came up and shared their story, it was truly all about the tragedies that they had been through, their experience of becoming part of the Boys and Girls Club, and their experience of transforming into these amazing people who were sharing their stories with us. I really became inspired to help support the Boys and Girls Club. I really didn't know anything about them. It was just the club I had heard about before. But seeing how the club helped transform these students helped me to take action. And for me, it was literally as simple as filling out that little envelope. But the biggest inspiration I found actually came from one of the students. He was the first one that came up to speak. His name was Rendell. When he came up, you could tell he was a little nervous, tried to make jokes, but he caught my attention immediately when he started in his actual speech. He spoke about suicide statistics and how he was almost one of them. He shared about being lonely, scared, bullied, and wanted to die. Rendell shared my story. It's a story I haven't actually shared with too many people before. And what I saw was the courage of this young man to truly share what he had been through and the hope that we have, that we can share with other people. He inspired me to actually speak about my circumstances because I too was almost one of those statistics. And it's a scary statistic, and it's one that a lot of people don't want to talk about. What I have learned is that suicide knows no bounds. There is no age, sex, race. It doesn't matter. Suicide can hit anybody at any time. And what I have also found is that most of us suffer in silence, and we truly don't need to. There is help, there is support, and there's hope. And that's what I saw that the Boys and Girls Club did for Rendell that day. I felt absolutely compelled to go speak to Rendell after all the speeches had been given. And there was a celebration and just the energy and the standing ovation that was given at the end of all their speeches was pretty resounding. I know for me, he caught my attention as being the first speaker, but my tears flowed through every speech because they were all inspiring. They all had an amazing story. When I was 15, I had a series of events that led me to believe that death was the only way out. I didn't know I had help. I didn't know I had support. And actually, 20 years ago, I did die. It is a miracle that I am here today. I know that I was not meant to die that day, and clearly, because of the circumstances, I was not meant to. And I do feel that it was because I have a purpose here to fulfill. And what Rendell did for me was to show that part of my purpose is what I have gone through. My story of being able to survive a suicide attempt, to show that there is hope for people who may be suffering, is something that I have actually toyed with the idea of sharing here. And just the week before, when I was preparing for the contest that we were meant to have, that was one of the topics I thought about. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to get that deep. Rendell showed me that I could. And he actually even used some of the words I had been formulating in my own head. We've all had our tragedies, our triumphs, our passions, our situations that have made us who we are today. And there was most likely an organization, a club, or some kind of just something that supports people who have been through what we have been through. I encourage you, find those clubs and organizations. If you haven't already, find them and support them, because God knows they need our support. I didn't know much about the Boys and Girls Club, but after hearing the support that they've given all of these children and thousands more, I did feel inspired to act to support them. And support can come in many ways. It can come as simple as writing a check, spending time, or simply sharing the message to people who may not know about them. But I encourage you to do that, because for me, to be able to share my story with others in the hopes of giving hope to someone who may be suffering is really what my life is about. Bringing purpose to others and helping others in whatever capacity that means. I know I have had plenty of angels helping me during my darkest times. Now it's time for us to be an angel for someone else.